we're going to discuss books now because we love books on this show. If you could share 3 books with our viewers all over the world who love books, 3 books that have inspired you. Before you do, I really want to encourage people who are interested in your field of study, science, to read this book. This is a beautiful book. It's nicely written. It's also is a recommendation from James Manyika, our own James Manyika, who at that time was chairman of McKinsey Global Institute and is currently with Google, I think. So it's a great book to read. What books do you recommend for us?
Hacking with Darwin. I'm taking it. I believe whenever I read, I also enjoy reading. I find bits and pieces of myself scattered within books. So the first book I would recommend is When Breath Becomes Air by Paul Kalaniti. So the author, Paul, then shares his journey of how he transformed from being a doctor to becoming a patient. So just before he completed his medical school at Stanford, he was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer. So he's trying to understand the meaning of life, the meaning of death. So what happens at 36, you're told that you could die in the next 6 months. So what happens to all those life goals that you have? And I love how personal and real the book is. So it just got me thinking about how it's so easy for us to get caught up in, our goals. And so what happens? How do you respond to life when one tragic piece of news
changes everything?
Yeah, that changes everything.
What's your next book? What's your next book that you recommend, if there's any?
So the next book is The Hot Zone by Preston Richard. So my books are a bit biased in terms of medicine. So yes. So this one is really interesting.
What is it called?
The Hot Zone.
The Hot Zone.
Yes, by Richard Preston. So it talks about the emergence of the Ebola virus in Africa. So how did Ebola virus come to Africa and how did the locals react, right? So this was in around 1976, thereabouts. So it's okay, these people are practicing traditional medicine and then there's this virus that's coming in. How does society respond to viruses? So it also humanizes the whole experience. It's different when you're learning about diseases from a textbook because it just gives you random stuff. But then within this book, the author then tells us who was the first person to get the disease, who were the medical professionals who helped.
I'm going to rush you. Your third book? Your last book?
All right. My last book was inspired by my program in South Africa, Global Citizen Year. So I had the opportunity to meet Kumi Naidoo. He's a world-famous human rights activist and climate change also advocate. So he has a book called Letters to My Mother. So he shares how his activism journey and how it connects to human rights. So
Kumi used to be chairman of Amnesty International.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah. Yes. That's the same Kumi. So he talks about how his mother's death at 15 inspired him to advocate for social justice, to advocate for a better South Africa, I guess, because he experienced all this racism that came with the apartheid system. So it's really interesting to learn about how activism has been evolving in the last, 50 years through his book. And it's really got me thinking.
Wow.
Yes.
I can't believe I'm talking to a 20-year-old. The books that you've just recommended are powerful books.